Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about some things you can do to mitigate mid-back pain and stiffness. And this video is going to be specifically speaking to my tactical professionals that might be wearing body armor or under rucksack, but this can also apply to those of you that maybe are sitting like hunched over in a desk all day, seated for long periods of time, wearing a hiking pack for long periods of time. Basically any time where you're spent like really hunched over in this position is going to compress things on the spine, and this stuff will help you. So first things first, we need to understand what happens when we are wearing our body armor or when we have weight on our shoulders. That is going to kind of change the position of your spine. It's going to round you forward just a little bit, and then the head's going to stick out, so things are going to kind of compress through the neck. We're also going to see a lot of compression through the back side of the rib cage here, and then when you have something covering your rib cage, you're not going to be able to breathe in the same manner. So you're not going to be able to pull air down into the bottom of your rib cage and get that expansion out and then front to back. So you're gonna have more shallow breathing essentially because your ribs are kind of trapped. So what that means is, and you don't think about ribs as requiring movement, but every time we breathe, your ribs kind of expand up and out and then come back in. So if we restrict that movement for several hours, things are going to get kind of stiff. So what I have found is if we can do some really precise work to try to get the rib cage moving in a couple specific directions, we can clean things up really, really quickly. So what I'm going to show you in this video is a 3-movement sequence. I recommend going in this order for a specific reason. I'm going to show you how you can use a combat helmet to do this in case you are in a deployed setting or in the field and don't have access to your regular gym stuff. If you're at the gym, I actually like doing it with one of the small medicine balls, so I'll show you that option as well. It's basically the same thing, same shape that you're doing. So let's check it out. Okay, so I've got my combat helmet and I've also got a small med ball if I was at the gym, but basically you can kind of tell it's the same shape and size. I actually prefer these over a foam roller. They have a little more oomph to them, but we're basically using it as like a fulcrum to bend the spine around. Now, the first thing we want to do is we actually want to restore movement to the back side of the spine. Now, I know you're kind of already in this position from whatever you've been doing. The tendency is to want to jump straight into extension, and we'll hit that second. But what I like to do first is really restore the breathing mechanism. And the reason for that is as long as you're taking those shallow breaths because your ribs are still locked down, it's going to keep you in that fight or flight response where you're still a little bit amped. And anytime we're done with our activity and we're trying to regulate pain and really kind of relax the body, we've got to be able to take nice, big, expansive breaths. So for that reason, I want to restore that as soon as possible. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a seat on the ground. You're going to take your whatever ball helmet and you're going to kind of work your legs as close to your chest as possible, and you're going to get your helmet or ball kind of here. You're going to then kind of wrap around it and kind of hook onto your knees. This should feel like it's really flexing out your spine and kind of rounding you out, and you're kind of doing that hug to really pull your shoulder blades out of the way. From here, all we're actually doing is breath work. So I'm going to take a breath in, but when I do that, I'm thinking about pulling air into my upper back, and I'm trying to send that air straight behind me. So I'm trying to expand my upper back. So I'm going to do a nice inhale through my nose. You may get a little pops sometimes. I do if I've been really stiff, and then exhale. But you're going to hit this for maybe 10 breaths. Again, just working on pulling air into the back side of your upper back and really pushing those ribs out at the same time that you expand them sideways. Once you've hit your 10 breaths there, then we're going to flip into extension. So you'll, again, take your ball or helmet, whichever one you want, And then this is gonna look more like a traditional foam rolling. We're just gonna be a little more precise with it. Okay, and you're gonna line up the rib cage portion of your spine over the fulcrum that you're using. We're gonna keep the pelvis ever so slightly tucked under just to keep the low back out of the mix. Hands are gonna go behind the head to support it. You're gonna pull those elbows in to get your shoulder blades out of the way. And then we are going to extend over, and then once you're at the bottom of your range, we're gonna do breath work again. We're mobilizing the front of the rib cage here. So you're gonna take your breath in through your nose, pull air deep into your rib cage. You're gonna make this front of the rib cage expand up and then expand out with your inhale. Nice exhale, and come out of it, and then we'll hit this for reps. So again, you're just extending your mid back over, but then hitting that breath work where we're getting the front of the rib cage to really open up here. So then to follow all that up, what we're gonna do is get set up in a 90-90, rough 90-90 position. And then your hand is gonna go about a foot out to the side of your hip. And you'll do this on both sides, but we're gonna hit some spine rotations and then we're gonna do some breath work with it. So what you're gonna do is take a big breath in from this position. As you inhale, you're trying to do a maximum 360 rib cage expansion. So you're pulling that air deep, rib cage is expanding outward, front to back and side to side. So big inhale. Exhale, you're gonna rotate, turn your head, look as far over this shoulder as you can. Then you're gonna reach out, tap the ground here. At the bottom of this movement, I'm taking another big inhale, hitting that rib cage expansion. Exhale, rotate out of it. I usually tell people hit about 10 reps to each side. So your focus is on hitting those inhales, really pulling that air deep, getting that rib cage moving as we kind of wind up the spine. So again, 3-part movement sequence here. You're gonna start with your kind of hunched over breath work, 10 reps, pull air into the back side of your upper back. Then you're gonna flip over. You're gonna hit your back extensions, hit a few of those. Then you're gonna pause, extend, hit your anterior expansion where we're making the front of the rib cage expand up with our inhales, hit about 10 breaths there. Then you're gonna get into your 90-90, hit about 10 rotations each direction. If this was helpful, drop a comment below, let me know so I can make more videos like this to help you guys out. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe to my channel and we'll catch you next time.